What is wrong with siblings in anime? Recently, we've had what sister leveling pop off, right? We've had what? I mean, anything. I don't think incest in anime is like a recent thing that's really popping off. This has been happening for a long time. Isn't there a show like Oremo, Kiss X6? Like even there were some other shows like Eromanga Sensei, or let's say even like Irregular Magic High School, right? There's always these like incest bait, brother sister lovey dovey things that really feels taboo and wrong, yet that's why a lot of people seems to gravitate towards it.
Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, I was admittedly quite sheltered and didn't really know many things about the world yet. I was basically allergic to touching grass. So then comes out this anime called Oreimo. Oreimo is
There we go. This is like, is this not like the pinnacle of like little sister bait anime?
short for Ore no imoto ga konna ni kawaii wake ga nai, which when translated to
Wow,
English,
that's Japanese.
there's no way my sister could be this cute. What a start to this video, holy
Ew.
shit. The anime stars a pair of siblings and their brave quest in fighting against the societal norms of not fucking your family member.
Okay. Societal norms. Listen, there are definitely times where you should reject societal norms because it's like, who even created these social constructs, right? Who is society to tell you what you can and can't do to express yourself? But here's the thing. When you engage in intercourse like this, when you engage in this behavior and you reproduce offsprings of the same gene pool, do you know what fucking happens? Bro, do you know why the royalty back in the day all look fucked up and have like these weird diseases? Because if you keep crossbreeding within the same gene pool, it's not good. It's really bad. It's science. This is just straight up science, where you become like a mutant. You're like the human, like we need to diversify the gene pool, right? You cannot be in the same pool, and then if you keep repeating over and over again, you get something that's not human. That's the entire point.
Sorry if I sound a little weird today. I'm a little sick right now. Physically sick and also sick of this bullshit. Kirino Kosaka is a popular high school girl who embodies the ideal student. She has perfect grades, makes her bag by modeling on the side and whatnot. However, she harbors a dark secret that is one day discovered by Kyosuke Kosaka, Kirino's extraordinarily average brother, who stumbles upon an erotic game.
Extraordinary average brother. Yep. Already you see how they're pandering towards the demographic who's going to be watching this shit. A nobody, a loser, does nothing with their life, nothing stands out, yet you have a sister who is everything. She is just the most popular, she's popping up, she's like an idol, whatever. And it just like creates this like whole pandering, you know, show where it's just like, yo, I know you degenerates, I know you want this shit. You can self-insert yourself as this exceptionally average person, and if you're into a little sister diddling, here it is.
Game that belongs to none other than his seemingly flawless younger sister. Now that her reputation was at stake, Kirino pretty much forces Kyosuke to never tell anyone about this world-shattering dark secret, while also introducing him to the world of eroge, like erotic games and anime. Over time, the unfriendly siblings bond as they meet a cast of fun and quirky characters, and one by one,
are they all into incest?
You watch as Kyosuke become closer with these girls as they all catch the feelings for Riz Master McGee over here. However, Kyosuke is unable to truly love any of them back as
because they're not blood related, so he rejects every girl. Cause like, sorry man, I only get turned on by my blood-related sister.
He already had someone in mind. I can't. I'm gonna quote the rest of this story from the Oreimo wiki because I can't. I literally hate the words I'm saying right now. Despite the many girls that constantly confess to him throughout the series. However, Kyosuke ultimately reveals that he actually harbors romantic feelings for his younger sister and added that he has been harboring it for years, to the point where...
Years? So even before he discovered the eroge stuff of his like little sister playing it, he was always like, I don't know, really into her, like spying. When? Years? Hold up! How old is she? Oreimo Kirino age. She's 14. So when did it start? I mean, it doesn't matter when it started. No matter what, it's bad. But like, when did it start? Huh?
He even proposes to her, which
What?
Kirino tearfully accepts, and they decide to become a couple until graduation day. After their graduation, they had a pseudo-marriage in a church arranged by Kyosuke and ended their relationship.
What church would ever be? Yup, incest is fine.
As a couple and returned to being normal siblings.
Okay.
The end.
Okay.
I'm already sick, but I think
Interesting.
recording this video is making me sicker. So I watched the entirety of this show, right? And middle school me, after finishing the show, is like, oh, this guy and this girl really love each other. Oh, they had a fake wedding and fulfilled their one true wish. Happy ending. What a wholesome show. And for some reason, it never really clicked in my mind until one day I was just kind of like, wait. Those two are blood-related siblings.
Yeah.
Like, they loved each other romantically, but
You didn't get that point the entire time you were watching it when you were a kid?
they were also, like, actually siblings. Like,
Yes!
what the fuck? Again, I was a very sheltered young boy, and
Okay, pure innocent kid had no clue about the incest bait. It's not even incest bait, it's literally happening in front of him.
I did not understand the concept of incest, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I know it doesn't make my case sound any better,
What kind of life are you living where you don't even know about this?
but whatever. Anyway, yeah, the crazy thing is, Oremo was actually kind of popular.
Yeah, I mean, still, even now, like, why is it actually getting a little bit more attraction right in 2022? What the hell? Maybe like a sequel, some sort of like video game, movie, OVA, some sort of new merch drop happened. But Oremo is still brought up anytime we talk about, anytime people are memeing around about siblingship, you know, memes, right? It's like, oh, recently we had like Yuki and Roshite, you know, with Kuze and stuff, and Masachika Kuze, and people are always like, haha, Yosuka no Sora, haha, Oremo, haha, Kirino, stuff like that. It's still mentioned a lot.
At the time it came out, and I'm not really sure what the general consensus is on this show, but doing a quick scan
6.93, nice score, man. 6.9.
over the My Anime List page shows that a lot more people actually like this anime than I would have thought. But then again, I remember kind of.
What does Yosuka no Sora have actually on my anime list? Yosuka no Sora, Mal. Let's see the rating. 6.02. 6.02, and then not as high as Oremo, okay.
Liking this anime back when I first watched this show. So I got to thinking, what about this anime makes it so that the taboo topic of incest is so casually accepted amongst the fans as based? Like, why did I even enjoy this anime in the first place? It's hard to say at first, I feel like, because objectively speaking, the characters in the show are not only like walking and talking red flags, but a lot of them are also just like unbearable and annoying as shit, especially the two main protagonists. First off, they're literally siblings, so why the fuck are you in love? But also, even if we remove the fact that they're in love with each other, Kirino is an unbelievably annoying, spoiled little who makes me believe that the creation of the tsundere was a fucking mistake. Meanwhile, Kyosuke is a
I hate tsunderes, bro. It's just so annoying.
doormat, but like somehow he's the doormat that all of the other doormats step all over.
That is crazy, bro. You are so exceptionally a doormat, the other doormats step on you. But again, you're trying to create the most relatable person. Straight up. I think that when the people had this show in design, or any show in design, how do you get people to really enjoy your show? To be able to self-insert yourself, to have an MC that's so relatable to that target audience. You see this happening all the time in rom-com, right? Where the MC does fucking nothing and the most popular girl shows up out of nowhere and just like takes the MC and you're like, haha, now I feel like, you know, I'm living the romance, you know, fantasies that I could never live through it.
Lets his sister pretty much destroy all shred of dignity within him, but he also then goes out of his way to reject his catgirl turned ex-girlfriend, childhood bestie turned secret crush,
Childhood friends never win.
sister's BFF who's just as popular as she is, all in the name of fake marrying his own sister Alabama style. Like, what the actual f is this?
He just has a preference. It's gotta be blood related.
These two literally had a fake wedding.
Where's his parents? Where are the parents? Casually just gone? Dead? Overseas? Busy? There's no way they approve of this shit, right?
And they kissed! And we're sitting there watching this and going, yes, my blood-related king and queen, my lovely anime Lannisters, you tell society to go shove it. Jesus Christ, this is too much. The thing with Oremo is that the show frames the whole incest story in a way where I think it's portrayed pretty similarly to like other romantic comedy anime. Oh, the protagonists are in this silly situation where they're in love with each other, but there are circumstances preventing this from fully blooming. An example, Kaguya-sama is about two lovers who both waste way too much much fucking time being too prideful to actually confess
True.
first.
Love is war, right? That's the whole premise where they are very in love, but they refuse to, you know, profess because the whole thing is, I don't want to give up first. You want to, you know, show me that you like me more so that I have like more of a leverage. It's like the whole mind games there. That is the reason. But in Oremo, what? Like hold the fuck up. Like, keep going. Actually, keep going.
Great show, by the way, but that's just, you know, kind of how it is. Oremo was kind of like that, but instead of the two lovers having too much pride, they're just blood-related siblings. Look, when you're young and clueless about the world, it's easy to just accept these things without questioning it in the moment.
I mean, I feel like even as a kid, I always knew that like incest is bad. I don't know why I knew it was bad. It's just one of those taboo things that you don't really question as a kid, but you just know it's bad, and later on you're like, oh, that's what happens when same blood, you know, related people start having offsprings. You get these genetic fucking mutants.
And also, even to this day, despite everything, this show's opening slaps. Like, I swear sometimes it feels like these cursed ass animes make sure to have like the most banger opening to distract from the absolute depravity that lies within them.
Clarice.
Also, the two siblings are designed pretty differently. They have completely different colored hair and different colored eyes, almost like they were
really trying to make you exactly right. They're siblings, but they're not siblings. You know what I'm saying?
purposefully designed in a way where you wouldn't really think that the two were actually blood related, which would ideally make it easier for a clueless
unlike Yosuka no Sora, right? Where both the brother and sister are like white silver hair, right?
young dumbass to look at the two characters falling in love and go, oh, that's cute. Like if they had the same exact hair color and same exact
This would be a little sus now, right? This is way yeah, it's now, here's a fun little thought. What if she just like, what if Kirino just like dyes her hair blonde, you know?
eye color. I don't think the story would have played out the same. And look, I get it. Okay, you might be thinking, Leo, you're a fucking dumbass. How can you not notice how weird and gross the show is when the title is literally, hey yo, no way my sister's kind of bad though? And you would be right, okay? But also, I bring this story up mostly because I wanted to talk about the overarching point of this.
I feel like you're breaking this anime up because you're trying to justify how you watch Oremo without realizing it was incest, and now you're like, oh my god, what have I done? So you're trying to make a fucking video justifying I was sheltered.
This video, which is that this whole siblings loving each other as more than just family thing is such a common trope in anime that sometimes I feel weird for even questioning.
Yeah, again, like even if Oremo specifically deals with this and even follows through with the whole marriage and shit, like the concept of incest stuff like that, it's very present in a lot of the animes we watch. Like, I just automatically assume that incest is just a natural part of just anime culture now. And most of the times, it's not just like actually pure blood related. They'll try to do something like cousin or stepsis or stuff like that, right? But people love it. People genuinely love it. And I think it's just because it's a bit taboo, right? It's like the forbidden fruit. You know you shouldn't do it, but because of that taboo, you kind of long for it. It's a very interesting psychological phenomenon.
It in the first place. Hello everybody, my name is Leo Hashee, and today I wanted to discuss a question that I've had for a while now. What the fuck is wrong with siblings in anime? Now mind you, okay, most siblings in anime are pretty normal. Nezuko and Tanjiro from Demon Slayer have such a wholesome sibling bond, with the two being the only survivors of their family. Edward and Alphonse Elric are brothers through and through. The entire story of
Are there any incest gay incest? Probably not, right? More people are into the brother and sister stuff, not brother and brother. What about sister and sister though? I feel like sister and sister could sell better than brother and brother, but definitely brother and sister is the main target audience. It's the biggest market there because heterosexual is just biggest normies.
Full Metal Alchemist is about these two brothers. But I've also noticed that there are a little too many siblings in anime that go beyond the realm of normal family bonds and right into the state lines of Alabama. I mean, there's even terminology for this phenomenon, right? Known as a brocon or a siscon. These anime characters are in a constant state of strong attachment and obsession to their brother or sister. According to the Stereotypes wiki, this is often in the form of a romantic attraction, but it is not inherently always an incestuous obsession obsession and can still be platonic. Another form of this trope is the imoto, which is the standard Japanese word for younger sister. But the imoto as a trope is basically a sibling, cousin, step siblings, or
Yeah, cousin. She say. Right now we're watching the I Gotta Get Married to the Girl I Hate the Most or something, and there is a girl named Shisei who is our cousin, but cousin keeps calling, you know, main character Ani, you know, Oni-chan or something like so. It's like, what the hell?
or adopted sibling who has a crush on their quote-unquote brother character, even if that crush is unrequited. The typical setup is that the sister character has romantic feelings for
What the hell are these stick figure designs? This is cursed.
her older male sibling, but sometimes they'll say, oh, they're step siblings, so technically they're not blood.
That's right. They always love to go in with this little bait, right? It's like, well, we can't just do whole blood related like Oreimo, so we'll just call them step siblings. Now it's gonna be fine. I'm stuck, step bro.
Related, so it's okay. Although I will say now that if you have to say, well, technically, in a sentence,
Yeah, like whenever you lead in saying, no offense, to be honest, technically, yeah, whatever's about to come after is not gonna be too good.
defending the topic of incest, I'll say that your argument might not come off as too strong. Quote, the imoto generally acts as a form of wish fulfillment for its largely male target audience.
Exactly. Wish fulfillment for its largely male target audience. A lot of guys fantasize, and maybe it's more specific in Japan, where the whole like obsession with like having a little sister call you like Onisama or something, right? I don't know if that's prevalent in a lot of the other cultures, but definitely there's a huge market of, you know, male audiences that love this element in anime, and therefore, you know, sex sells like anything. So they're going to definitely pander towards that audience and, you know, have a little step sibling that, you know, it's just used for incest bait.
Broadly speaking, the genres in which standard imoto characters typically appear already involve some manner of fan service, be it the traditional sort involving physically sexualized characters, or a power fantasy in which the main character is transported to a world where he is immediately far more powerful than his peers. Having a protective, doting, or endearingly spirited and cute younger quote-unquote sister who just so happens to be romantically attracted to the protagonist, the audience stand-in, is simply a more extreme case of this kind of wish fulfillment.
That's right. Self-inserting yourself into a character who immediately is just OP and has a harem, and maybe one of those harem members is a little sister.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're doing it for the boys, I guess.
Yeah.
And we've seen these tropes happen in a lot of popular anime, even nowadays.
And just a disclaimer, before I talk about some of these anime, I'm not saying that there is incest canonically in these shows. I'm just saying there are elements of these tropes within popular anime today.
Absolutely. When we say incest, I guess people really think that like there is pure romance happening between blood-related siblings, right? But like let's say like Mahoko, for example, Irregular Magic High School. Onisama, right? Miyuki, always saying Onisama. Miyuki like going like, of course they don't actually engage in specific actions that explicitly, you know, shows like intercourse, but you can see how romantically engaged they kind of are, right? Or even a show like, let's say Date Alive. Date Alive, what happens? I don't want to spoil, but there is a blood-related sibling, and there's an also non-blood-related sibling that we thought was a blood-related sibling anyway. There's stuff like that too, but there's not actual like sexual elements happening. It's just a very, I don't know. It's almost there. They're definitely like gushy and lovey and dovey. What else is there? I just mentioned the Shisei example where it's like a cousin. Mushoku Tensei as well. Mushoku Tensei, Rudius and Eris. Long distance cousins, right? They're like many cousins distant apart. You're still part of the same family tree. I guess it's just, you know, distant apart from the family tree branch where it's just more, a little bit more accepted, I guess. What else is there? Let's think. Any other isekais that's been doing that shit? No. Any other thing? Railgun? What about Railgun? What siblings are diddling each other in Railgun, bro? I got no clue. Days of My Stepsister? Mom Isekai is not that's like, I guess we're trying to label the incest right now as in siblings and not really mother and son, which we don't really get to see that much.
So everyone understands, I'm not claiming everyone loves each other in these series, okay? Spy X Family was one of 2022's breakout anime series full of wholesome comedy, iconic Anya meme faces that I still use to this day, and a young man whose every thought and
That's right? The siscon here, right? He is super into your
action says, tell me you have incestuous feelings for your older sister, without saying you have incestuous feelings for your older sister. I love Spy X Family, and I think every character is pretty likable in their own way. Even Yuri. But did we really need to have him dip his toes in the zones of romantic feelings for his sister? The show keeps it ambiguous enough to play it off as a comedic joke, but even still, like, why do we need this? Oshinoko.
Why do we need it? Because just that's what people want, right? Because like that kind of elements again, right? The whole like aspect of like who's the fantasy here for? I guess it's for a bunch of dudes that are into their big sisters, right? This is a different case where rather than, you're the older brother and you have a little sister that's doting on you, it's the opposite around. But like, it's just sex sells, right?
Is like
Oshinoko, we got Ruby and Aqua coming up.
An elephant in the room that is so fucking massive that it destroyed the entire house that it was in. I don't really want to talk about it too much, but like, come on. Like, this whole show has this underlying plot line of OMG, this guy and girl were reincarnated as twins, but they weren't related in the past life. So it's okay if the plot line turns incestual at some point, right?
Mental gymnastics, right? Where it's just like reincarnated characters, they were actually never, family, and now they're blood related, but there's also the age gap. Anyways, Ruby Aqua, it's gonna happen pretty soon, I think.
Because technically, they were unrelated before they were reincarnated.
Again, this is like the type of mental gymnastics that lolicons do. We're like, oh, technically, she may be having the body of a 9-year-old in a G-string, but she's a 9,000-year-old demon.
Reincarnated. But also not to mention the fact that even before they were reincarnated, the dude
she was really into him, true.
He was literally like an adult doctor.
Yep.
And the girl was like 14.
Yep.
But the opening is a fucking banger, so the incest is accepted in the mainstream. Also, I didn't read the ending, but I know it fucking sucked. So like, whatever. Mashal, which is easily
Mash. There are ancestral moments here. Which character did that actually?
one of
I forget.
my favorite new animes, and one I definitely do recommend everyone to watch.
I have a pretty negative opinion about this show. Oh yeah, the blue hair guy, the gravity magic guy, and he's always like, oh my little sister, stuff like that, right? Nash, listen, a little bit of a hot take. I don't think it's that really a hot take. Nash started off really strong, being so unique of, it's a battle shonen, yet the comedic elements of muscle overpowering magic was really fun in the beginning, but then the jokes became very, very stale, and it just kind of devolved into this generic battle shonen where it's just like, all right, whatever. I don't know. It lost that magic in the beginning, which is funny because there's no magic. It's all muscle.
Has Lance, who has a legitimate reason and platonic family love for his sister, but for some reason chooses to identify as a siscon, literally giving merch with his sister's face on it to Mashal's adoptive father because everyone needs to fall in love with his angel of a sister, according to him. Obviously, this character is more making fun of the trope rather than actually being the trope.
True, right? It's a guy that's overly exaggerated. It's ridiculous. Like, what kind of person would do this? But they're still playing into that trope.
But the fact of the matter is, the trope is popular enough to spawn a parody like this in the first place.
And why is the trope popular? Because that's what the market demands, right? And I don't know what's happening really in Japan, but I feel like culturally there's something going on there where the whole siblingship stuff is really it's very enticing to them, in my opinion.
Bungo Stray Dogs literally has a
Haven't seen Bungo Stray Dogs.
sister pouncing onto his brother like a feral werewolf every single time the two are in the same vicinity of each other. Black Clover has one of the more prominent supporting characters, Gosh, have literal nosebleeds every time he looks at a picture of his younger sister.
Isn't this just Lance?
This is another case of someone who has a legitimate reason and platonic love for his sibling, but again chooses to identify as a siscon because why? Psyche K, I think, is another like satirical case where they're making fun of the trope, but there's an older brother having an obsession with his younger sibling to the point of stalking her and smelling stuff in her room.
Smelling what?
Question mark? And don't even get me started on
SAO, oh my god. Sugos, oh my Lifa, oh my god. That was, dude, it's crazy what happened there, bro. Because, like, Sugo didn't even know that Kirito was, like, her big bro. And she already got cucked outside the game because of Asuna. And then within the game, then Leafa gets cucked. Oh, it's just double whammy. This is a dumpster fire. The drama was insane though.
Sword Art Online. Okay, dear God. It's too late now because I've started. So let me talk about SAO. Look, truthfully, I've only seen the first 2 arcs of Sword Art Online.
Then you can never be able to give an actual judgment of the show because SAO is a fucking masterpiece. Stupid ass fucking anime tubers, bro, back in the day, just writing off SAO as a garbage fucking show. Got its reputation down the fucking trash hole, bro. You've seen only 2 arcs, bro. You got no fucking clue what's gonna happen next. After like ALO, bro, it's mainly ALO that people shit on, bro. What GGO does after is fucking amazing. What happens after with Mother's Rosario, even the Tonki arc is a little cute little side, story. And then Project Alicization is just peak fucking fantasy.
The first arc, which was actually good, and then the second arc, the infamous fairy dance.
The racist fairy children's game. This is a dumpster fire. But like, it's so bad that it's entertaining.
Arc. If you've never seen Sword Art Online, let's just say that this is described by one Reddit user as this awesome friend who has one really annoying trait. You just have to accept the bad with the good. There was so much that was just elf shit about the second arc of SAO that I won't talk about in too much depth because that's not the point of this video. But this arc just left a very awful taste in my mouth. However, if you're an SAO enjoyer, I respect it. I'm sure it does get much better after.
Way fucking better. It's insane.
For the second arc from what I've heard, but it's just not for me. But one of the things I felt as though really brought down the fairy dance arc was the entire storyline with Suguha, who is Kirito's sister.
Poor girl, bro. She never got her answer at the end of the season either.
Cousin, whatever the fucking hell technicalities it is. Suguha is introduced to us as Kirito's sister, but it turns out that she's
a cousin, right?
His cousin the whole time.
Yeah, and suddenly, I feel like a sister being a step sibling and a sister turning to be a cousin, right? It's kind of the same thing. I feel like cousin is a bit more closer to incest than step sibling.
She apparently had a fucking crush on her older brother / cousin, so she starts playing this game called Alfheim Online, where her avatar is this blonde elf girl who looks nothing like her. So
Leafa design elite.
She meets Kirito in Alfheim Online, but believes that he's a complete stranger. The two get closer to each other, and Suguha feels hopeful because, oh my gosh, now she can use this opportunity to get rid of the romantic feelings that she's had for her older brother
and she gets double cucked
entire time. But one day she's forced to learn that this dashing young online stranger she was playing this massively multiplayer OO RPG game in her MetaQuest 69 or whatever with was actually her older brother / cousin who she was literally trying to move on from in the first place. Like, holy mother of God, why? Anyways, I just don't see how this plot line is something we really just needed. Technically,
it doesn't really add to the story. The author of SAO is a very interesting one. He's a fucking degenerate. There's a pattern of behavior with SAO where every season there's a really creepy rapey scene. And the author makes sure that it happens every time. Which I guess further supports my notion that he dabbles in a lot of interesting things that many people, I guess, wouldn't really touch upon. And Sugu was, just the victim of this case where she just loses out, but also at the same time, the whole incest shit, was that necessary to the story? It wasn't. There was no fucking point, but he did it anyways for shits and giggles. And oh my God, it was a peak train wreck.
Cousins, so it's a little more acceptable than the fact that they were siblings. I mean, Edgar Allan Poe married his cousin and no one gave him shit for it.
Again, right? The whole notion of it at the very top of the taboo is blood-related siblings. And then right beneath it is cousins. And then beneath that, I guess, is step bro, step sis. There's also half brother, half sister stuff.
But they were raised as actual siblings though. And she had a crush on Kirito even before she found out they were cousins though. This was just a part of their two stories since the beginning though. Kirito literally sees her as a family member because she is one though. Am I the only one going insane? And I'm sure there are many other infamous examples of these themes in anime that I didn't talk about.
Boy, what the hell is this?
In this video, and if I did miss something, make sure to leave it in the comments.
Irregular Magic High School, just top of my head. Date Alive as well.
below. Or don't. Honestly, this whole video feels like I just opened Pandora's box. Is there something in the air of Japan that's causing this uptick in wanting to romantically intertwine with your blood siblings?
I mean, there is a map. Okay. Most enjoyed categories. I don't want to search this up in this computer right now, actually. But you guys can search it yourself. There's a map where it shows the most searched or enjoyed genres or categories of, you know, corn. And in Japan, I think it was like an NTR, but also incest, right? Something there, something about Japan. I just love this shit, man. And I don't know exactly what it is, but there's something in the air. There's something in the water. I don't know.
Is this the same shit that's in the air of Alabama? Speaking of Alabama, have you heard the rumors? There's apparently a force field that's set up around the state of Alabama.
What?
And when you step inside of it, you just suddenly want to begin fucking your blood-related family members on the spot.
I don't even know why that's a thing in Alabama either, right? There's got to be like a video essay explaining like the history of Alabama and why, like, you know, siblingship, cousin fucking is such a prominent thing there.
Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. I know I keep clowning on Alabama. I'm sure it's a lovely place, okay? I really don't know. I just think it's a funny joke to me, okay? I'm sorry. I actually did some forbidden Googling to see why this sort of incestual relationship is so prevalent in anime and manga, and I found some interesting stuff. One Reddit user says, Japan's low birth rate means a lot of people with no siblings who connect with the perfect idealized siblings in incest stories.
Too many single kids. So, here's the thing though. If you are a single kid and you have no siblings, you wouldn't fantasize about fucking your imaginary boy, like a brother or sister, though. It would be platonic at best, where it's like, oh, I wish I had a big bro. I wish I had a big sister, little sister. But there is a jump here where it becomes more than that.
Incest is a theme in shoujo girls fiction because it's a very emotion-focused and intense relationship, and us ladies love.
Yes, you would. Why would you do that? No normal fucking person would be, you know, desiring to fuck your big bro or little sister because you didn't have a sibling. There's a logical gap here that you, as a degenerate incest enjoyer, cannot comprehend, so you're just self-reporting that of course this is the norm. But if you actually thought about what it actually means to have a brother or sister, if you even have an actual little sister or a big brother, that stuff, you wouldn't feel that way. That's not normal. That's what I'm trying to figure out. There's a jump here. There's a sexual element that suddenly gets attached because what? They have no siblings? Something is missing.
Love them feels. I can neither confirm or deny. I have no idea. Japan's just generally more open with.
Anyways, incest is a theme in shoujo fiction. Okay, but like shoujo content is not what male audiences like consume. Vast majority of the incest bait that happens in anime is targeted towards the young male audience, right? Male audience. Shoujo is, I don't think this is really going to do anything for that specific market.
Sexuality in fiction. Incest featured in the mythology of how Japan was created.
It's in the mythology? Okay.
More on this later. In Japanese culture, older siblings statistically have more responsibility over their siblings than in other cultures and have more intimate relationships with each other.
Okay. Now we're working with the culture where the elder sibling has more responsibility to take care of the younger. There's an intimate relationship there that doesn't exist in other cultures, which then permeates into some sort of sexual element.
Another Reddit user says, the best I can think of is that many Japanese don't have any siblings, at least in the city. They usually won't have more than 1 or 2 children.
Okay, but let's say China too, though. What about China? China literally has a policy, one-child policy, where the government banned people from having kids. Why is China not like that?
Anime usually is a collection of imagination. Sibling dynamic in anime is simply a what if for those who never experienced any of it.
Exactly. I'm perfectly fine with you so far. I'm following the logic, but there is a jump where it turns sexual, which I don't understand. If people truly desired this missing bond of what they thought a big brother, big sister, little bro, little sister would be, they wouldn't immediately think, I want to fuck them. It's more of, I wish I had a companionship, a blood-related sibling that I could hang out with, you wouldn't immediately go and say, I want to fuck them.
A way to escape from their poor relationship with their sibling. Family matters can happen after all. Not to mention, traditionally, Japanese people think family is a very important part of their society. Even
Thank you, Meister, for the gifted sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
if that family member is rubbish, they will still help him no matter what. Now, me growing up in a Japanese family in America, I can't really personally attest to whether or not just because culturally family is very important to you means you end up wanting to hook up with them. I'm not
Exactly. Where is the jump there in the logic?
really sure if there's a correlation between the two.
Like, to me, it just feels like it's such a taboo element. And people want the forbidden fruit. It's such a thing that you shouldn't be doing. But because of that societal, irregularity, you're drawn into it. Okay, sure. But that can apply to anybody, right? That's prevalent, but something in Japan, it's even more heightened. Something in there is way more like exaggerated.
Maybe it really is just supposed to fulfill a certain niche for a certain audience, and maybe I'm just looking into it way more than any single human being should ever dare look into a topic like this. I do want to mention
I want the truth. Dig harder.
something interesting though. In the earlier Reddit comment, they mentioned that incest is featured in the mythology of how Japan was
Okay, mythology. Okay, where are we going with
created.
this?
So after doing some digging, I found a story that somehow makes incest the least of its worries.
What?
It's about the story of Izanagi and Izanami. They were the 8th pair of brother and sister gods to appear after heaven and earth separated out of chaos. The brother
Okay.
and sister decided that they wished to bonk bonk, and their first attempt at a sexual union resulted
Wait. Did they just immediately fuck out of nowhere? Okay.
in a deformed child known as Hiruko. And guess
There it is. Deformed child. Even the mythology is carrying on the whole, why you shouldn't breed within the same gene pool.
what these two siblings slash parents did to their poor child who couldn't live a normal life because of his deformities. They set him adrift on a fucking boat. What?
Jesus fucking Christ. Alright. We gonna fucking make a monster baby. Now we're gonna let this shit go down the river like Moses and Prince of Egypt. Where's it going?
Why? Because he was deformed? Like, Jesus Christ. Apparently this mistake was blamed on Izanami, who, quote, as a woman, should never have spoken first.
What?
Completely ignoring the fact that these two were actually biological siblings, and maybe that might have contributed just
Exactly. That's science, bro.
a little bit to the issue at hand. But nah, it's not because of that. No, it's because the woman spoke, right?
That's pretty funny, bro. That's so misogynistic. It's just like, oh nah, dumbass bitch. This is your fault. You spoke. How dare you talk?
Later on, Izanami gave birth to the fire god, Kagutsuchi, and this
What?
baby literally spontaneously combusted his mom while
What the fuck? All right, rest in peace, mom.
popping out of her. And after being brutally murdered by her baby, Izanami was sent to Yomi, the land of darkness. This poor lady was sent to hell for being combusted by her child. What is happening? Anyway, Izanagi follows
I don't know, but the depiction of women in this mythology is very, very unfortunate.
her there. But apparently, Izanami now couldn't leave anymore because she had some food that was from the place. When Izanagi lit a fire and saw her face, he saw that she was actually rotting and covered with maggots. Izanagi
Ugh.
fled as he was being chased down by a host of women, as well as Izanami herself. After
What is
reaching
happening?
the entrance to Yomi, Izanagi put a stone across it and blocked it off. He then bathed in the sea to purify himself and literally gave birth to a bunch of
He gave birth?
deities and gods as he washed them out of his pores or whatever.
He gave birth at the... Where are we going with this mythology?
Some
Who comes up with this shit, bro? These stories are more fucking ridiculous than all the fucking isekai bullshit we consume.
times I sit here and wonder, what am I doing with my life? I guess the theme of incest has been sort of there since the beginning of Japan. I guess that doesn't necessarily correlate with how weird anime siblings are, but I just thought this entire thing was kind of interesting and way too cursed not to share with you guys. I also found this article that discusses the history of Japan and incest in way too much detail. Quote, the truth is, historically, Japan has not had any real problem with incest. In fact, clans would traditionally encourage relationships amongst cousins or second cousins to
Rudius and Eris.
perpetuate family dynasties. If a father was widowed, he would often marry his daughter.
Huh?
Practices like this continued well into the 20th century.
Huh? Father was widowed, meaning the wife is dead or gone. Single dad. He often marries daughter. Okay, where did that come from though? Where did that come from? Because clans would traditionally encourage relationship among cousins. And that kind of culture, again, historically Japan definitely diddles an incest, right? This is just straight up fact right here. And therefore it kind of permeates that into 20th century, okay.
Especially in very traditional rural families.
And that's a thing that also is why Alabama constantly gets called out for incest, right? Where I feel like rural places, right? The South or any of those places, what's the stereotypes? That they're uneducated. And I think there is definitely some truth to that stereotype, right? Where if you aren't educated about how to fucking like if you don't know why you shouldn't be fucking your cousins or sisters or brothers, right? You're gonna keep doing this shit. The more uneducated you are, and if there's it's a geographical place where it's less educated, then yeah, I could totally see why they would engage in this behavior.
Indeed, incestuous relationships were so common in olden days between siblings, cousins, aunts/nephews, uncles/nieces, and alike that genetics experts say that this has introduced all sorts of problems into Japan's DNA. And after reading this, I now have
Are you second guessing your own DNA right now because you're a Japanese person living in America?
a lot of questions about my ancestors. But honestly, I'm not even sure if I want to know any of the fucking answers. By the post-war era, most people's attitudes towards incest had turned to complete disapproval, likely due to the introduction of genetic science.
There it is. When you become educated and you realize that, oh, scientifically we shouldn't be doing this because we create monsters.
And probably immoral influence from the West. It's now common wisdom that Japan's bloodline is a mess due to all the inbreeding. I didn't know that, but I guess it is common wisdom. But incest is not illegal there, and as piles and piles of Japanese media can attest to, its forbidden nature has turned it into a fetish.
There it is, right? That's it. From the beginning, I've always been saying that it's a forbidden fruit. And because of the taboo, people want it more. You combine that with the cultural history of, you know, them engaging in these acts. Are you surprised that like there's still stuff like this happening scattered throughout anime? I mean, shit. Up into the 20th century, bro, widowed fathers marrying daughters is common. So again, here it is. It's just culture and history, practices, right? Which was common. And now it's permeating into anime and a lot of other stuff. And I don't think, again, this is specific to Japan though. Because like the theme of incest is like, there's a lot of other shows that deals with this shit. I mean, we were making Game of Thrones, you know, references, like the Lannisters, right? Like, exactly, step bro, step sis, like, do you think that Japan only enjoys that? Like, dude, like English-speaking countries like America, they love that shit, right? Like, it's not a Japan-specific thing, but it's also interesting to see like the history of why things are the way they are in specific cultures.
Test to. Its forbidden nature has turned it into a fetish. In more recent times, there have been reports that counselors in Japan have seen a lot of mothers who have been having sexual relationships with their teenage sons.
Huh? Jesus Christ. I read this art where the mom was like the teacher for the son's like coming of age practices because the kid didn't know how to relieve himself. So the mom, anyways.
Sons. The reports were that the mothers were lonely housewives whose husbands were essentially always at work and
so lonely, desperate, horny housewives are fucking their sons. The dad is getting cooked by the son. Okay.
rationalized the relationships by saying they were keeping them clear-headed and focused on their studies rather than girls.
What an excuse, bro. My son needs to stay locked in. He cannot succumb to these desires by these sluts at school. Therefore, I will go there and milk him. This is straight up H anime logic. Exactly.
Long story short, this was an article that I wish I had never read. But now that I was unfortunately subjugated to this information, I'll also be subjugating all of you to this awful information. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, because I'm not. So what's the point of this video anyways? You might
The point of this video is what is wrong with siblings in anime? What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just simply history and cultures engaging in the forbidden fruits, which is now permeating as a fetish in anime. That's it.
Might ask, did I set off on a journey to try and understand and explain the reason and meaning behind Japan's apparent fixation on incest? To be honest, I don't even know anymore. I genuinely think I might have lost the plot now. This entire video was a fucking mistake. I guess the long story short is the world may never know why things are the way they are.
No, I think we figured it out. I think there's a lot of details here that's been provided where we can make some, guesses on why why the things are the way they are.
We simply just accept it and move on, I guess. Thanks for watching. I need to go sleep or something.
Bro's not gonna go sleep. Bro's gonna fucking go look at the animes with this fucking plot, bro. This line is crazy. This line is this paragraph here is absolutely fucking bonkers. Please go check out Mr. Leo Hashee. Here's a link to his channel. Go give the video a like if you did. Go sub to him if you'd like to. I'll see you next time.